And as we start heading toward the bans, we can sort of predict there's going to be at least one hard breach banned. It's very typical on Clubhouse to ban one of them out. A lot of times I see Hibana, but sometimes it's the Thermite as well. Maverick is, I think, the most common actually for the hard breach ban.
Mhm.
But we'll see what they decide to go with right here.
None of the Maverick, pretty common ban. It's usually always Maverick and Capital. Sometimes you will see a Hibana ban and a Maverick ban, leaving Capital up on the board, but your only hard reacher being Thermites. So it makes for some pretty chaotic matches on Clubhouse. But I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing Team Reckless ban out Capital more than anything. Yeah, there you go. Pretty common bans. Mirror and Echo are usually the staple defender bans. Sometimes it will rotate into Maestro in favor of Echo. So those are pretty much the two most common bans on this map. Uh, Clubhouse is pretty set standard in who gets banned, so it pretty much plays out the same. It just depends on what teams have what strats set up for certain sites.
Yep, and especially against these two teams, I think a Capitao would be especially strong because if you can cut off some of those flank angles and some of those rotations, then it's definitely an extra strong choice. Not to mention Capitao in general is already very strong himself. But yep, Echo Mira going to round out the two final bans, so that means Maestro's on the board. Definitely a popular operator on this map, especially since you only get two bans, so you're going to use them on Echo and Mira more often than not. And this has always been a pretty good map for Maestro. Lots of long angles he can hold with the Alda. At this point, he lost his ACOG, so um, those long angles are going to be a little bit harder for him to challenge. But the fact that he still has the Alda and it's still got its insane power is always very good. We're seeing a Wamai, which we barely saw in the last map, which is pretty interesting. No Jaeger either. Usually we see people double up the Wamai and the Jaeger to just double down on the utility denial for the attackers.
We got 2 6 picks coming out from the attacking squad of Reckless. It's changing out the Monty into a Hibana. Meanwhile, on the side of Shook Squad for their defensive 6 pick, they've elected to rotate out a Clash instead of a Maestro, which is pretty interesting because you're limiting your intel. Your only real intel is mostly just going to come from Pulse. That's really all that's going to be found outside of the default cameras, which will get shot pretty early on. The only saving grace default cam that's going to be used for this bomb site is going to be the default one right in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, at the top of the stairs there.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all that's going to be focused upon here for Team Reckless. If they find this Pulse, they need to immediately hunt him down and take him out, because he'll be their only source of intel outside of default cams, as well as one of two C4s here, since Omai does not have a C4 and he's using a deployable shield in hand.
Yeah, and on this site, I can definitely see using a deployable shield because there are definitely angles that you don't want to get shot from, and having a deployable shield can bring so much versatility to an open site like this, or a site that has a very important angle to hold, which is the one that leads right into gym from this jacuzzi wall. So that's a very common spot for a deployable shield. We'll see if the bandit trick is able to come through. We hear, I think it worked because I don't hear the exothermic charge going anymore, and he definitely didn't take it off because he's only got one left.
Definitely, yeah. Hitman does have 2 more batteries left in hand, and hopefully, is it going to work? They're not working in tandem with this Sophia. They're trying to deal damage over onto Braxton, but it's like Doxy and Hitman does have 1 more battery left. He's gonna get it. Hitman successfully bandit tricks both of the thermite charges, so this is gonna make things really difficult, and obviously it's going to lead in a rotation here from Team Reckless.
Yeah, and at this point, if the jacuzzi wall is not open, it's huge for the defenders. The attackers really need to switch up their strategy. They have 1 minute and 30 seconds left to do it, which does give them enough time, but the fact that they have to pretty much focus their entire attack over here and through construction, which nobody's rotated through construction quite yet. Usually you have a couple of people on your team playing from there while the Thermite's trying to get open jacuzzi wall, but Toadi's going to get the first frag onto Nile. That's a pretty good one there. Another Wamai Pancake goes out here. Oh, actually shot through the floor. Razor is going to confirm that kill. So another kill on the board for Team Reckless, and Shook Squad are just being choked out right here. They don't have a lot of room to work with.
Oh no!
Okay.
That's really not gonna happen. But somehow Austin wins the fight against Breezy as Ultra's able to refrag and a knife. No, a pairing 9 frag. A round that looked improbable here for Team Reckless, completely 180'd. After being unsuccessful on the jacuzzi wall, they somehow managed to fight this round into their favor, and it really came through in the hands of Razor, despite getting one tap by the bandit on those main stairs. I was really curious as to why Benji didn't even bother shooting through the floor, because he saw the back of Razor, but I guess it was due to the fact that he didn't want to get caught, maybe getting peeked from the hatch, because he had an angle on Razor to shoot at him, but obviously, he didn't act upon it. But this time around, for our second round, we're going to be going into Church and Arsenal. We're actually going to be switching out the Clash into a Goyo. Meanwhile, Toady switching away from the Fuse into a Zofia.
I don't think a lot of people expected him to stay on Fuse. That's kind of a telegraph that you're going to be 6-picked, unless I guess you're G2 when you're running a very specific strat, but this is not that case. And I do like this lineup. Again, we have the Mute Mozzie Vigil for a lot of information deny, the Castle in order to secure the rotations down so they can break open any hatch they want. We're probably going to see Castle barricades in the entrances into Bar so that you can jump down Moto hatch without getting attacked by any attackers holding an angle. And yeah, overall, pretty straightforward defensive setup here. The last one being Goyo. We all know Goyo's incredibly strong right now. The fact that he brings 3 deployable shields that have more utility on top of being deployable shields to shut out attackers is incredibly strong. And this time he's going to be running the TCSG, which is a pretty strong weapon, especially on this site with such long angles.
It's a bit interesting that they're double stacking 2 Goyo shields on the blue doorway into Arsenal. Maybe it's due to, maybe they'll try to delay into entry point. Maybe, I don't know if you're able to vault over the both of them. I haven't really been able to test out Goyo shields all that often myself. We'll see how those 2 Goyo shields play out. But you do have one member up above. I believe that was going to be Nile, all the way looking through, but Nilay's going to get the opening pick here onto Ultra. That takes care of your Hibana, and that's one of your 2 hard breaches.
And they're actually going to rotate directly back to site right now. They're taking that first pick and running with it. At this point, I kind of want to see them deny a little bit more time. Of course, their time is going to be run out by the fact that they're not there, and the drone denial is still going to be there. So it's pretty hard for the attackers to be completely sure that nobody's still up here. And I still think they could have bought more time, because it's less than a minute, and they've drawn out pretty much all of the upstairs. You did get a pick, which is really good. But yeah, I think you can be a little bit more tricky with this defense.
Currently have Braxton sitting, or I'm sorry, Benji sitting inside of blue, as Braxton will be in church making himself a peek hole, trying to clear himself of debris so that he has as least amount of invisibility, I guess, or least amount of debris as possible to hinder his line of sight. Razor's going to go ahead and start to work up above inside of kitchen with this bug, trying to create pressure down to the Arsenal bomb site as is per usual. There is no pulse being brought here, so their only information is probably just going to come from sound cues, and getting lit up a lot is going to be Austin through those floorboards. I don't know if it was through the skeleton key or what, but an impact nade's going to come out and deal a little bit of damage onto Breezy. Breezy's just waiting for a pick to come out. Here's a thermite charge being planted. We'll be able to take care of it, and there's no more hard breach to work through the rest of this round.
Wow, both of those exothermic charges just got impact tricked on the same angle. That's incredible. Austin with a great play right there, not only staying alive from all of the vertical pressure, but taking out that major utility. And at this point, Shook Squad are in firm control. Not only are they a person up, but Team Reckless, they don't have a lot of ways for them to attack, but Dox G able to take out Austin, and Hitman takes out Breezy as well. Yeah, the plant starts going down. Nobody saw him rush in, but there we go. Hitman finally able to take him out. Razor, Toady actually bringing the rest of the round into their favor, and that is a pretty crazy attacker win. Again, all of the utility gets taken out. They don't have the proper entrances they need, but they still make it happen.
That round, I mean, the thing with Reckless, they see these rounds. They're very they look improbable when the time's starting to dwindle down, and then they just improvise and they're able to get away. I honestly thought Doxy was going to get away with that rush plant that he made going in through the armory wall. And granted, he did get down, but the coverage from up above with Razor and Toady being able to take care of Braxton sitting inside a church, beautifully displayed of teamwork there coming out for Team Reckless. And that's really why they're up here at 2-0 on attack. We've seen a lot of attack rounds being won today.
Yeah, attack has been very successful, and a lot of it comes down to these clutch frags that happen. And it is definitely especially shocking. Again, both of these rounds, the attackers don't get the walls open that they need. Their utilities burned out, but they still find the frags at the end of the day, which definitely goes to show how strong they are in terms of their fragging power. But I would want to see their utility game sorted out a little bit, because a lot of this is preventable. You know, being impact tricked. He both times DoxG kind of placed the exothermic charges down and wasn't really too far aware of the fact that there was an impact trick from below. And even after the first one came through, the second one, you know, it was a similar story.
I don't think Nile spotted that drone that was on the rack inside of blue. I'm not so sure if it's still there or not, but if it is, then he can be in some pretty big trouble here on these blue stairs. Maybe even have somebody rotate in from dirt tunnel. That's exactly what's going to be happening here. From, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be Razor down below inside of dirt trying to pressure onto Nile.
Yep, they're going to toss another drone in there and make sure that he's challenging the angle. There we go. Going for a pre-fire, Ultra's able to take out Nile, and that's that. They managed to snuff him out down here from the main lobby angle, and that brings a lot of control over the side of Team Reckless, because from here, they have plenty of options. They could go up through construction, they could open up some of the walls into garage and challenge that angle, because they do have a few frag grenades from the side of Razor to flush out anyone who's upstairs. The ADSs are probably up there, so they would need to burn them out, but Ultra has some flashbang grenades on his side as well, so there is ample utility to burn out those ADSs and secure a kill onto anyone playing Rafters. But it seems like the round is starting to slow down for Team Reckless right here. They want to be sure that they've completely cleared the first floor before they make any moves.
Yeah, just to update you guys who haven't been paying attention over to A stream, it's been a 7-1 victory on Coastline to end the day over on stream A. So Bra really really sticking it to Senshi there, 7-2, 7-1 for their 2 matches. Toady, however, gonna get a frag onto Braxton. There goes your mute, and one of your 2 C4s off the board. So now Razor gonna try to nade over the wall to get rid of the bandit batteries, which will easily be done so. And now Doxy will have all the time in the world to go ahead and open up this construction wall.
Construction wall gets open. Razor takes a little bit of damage from that, but Toady actually peeks around over toward the CCTV window, manages to get one, and Austin gets downed by Ultra as well. Confirmed kill there. That's a double kill for him, and now only the Maestro left in garage. This is a very strong position for Maestro. He gets 2! That's 2 headshots in a row. Will he be able to clutch this? He's feeling the adrenaline at the moment as he searches around for anything to do. Diffuser goes down, but no. Someone is watching from the window, and that's going to be Toady, shutting down Benji Mula and preventing any chance of a comeback.
Very nice display of skill there from Benji in those 2 picks, but unfortunately, when your entire team follows around you, it's very difficult to win out those 1v5 situations. He was able to isolate those 2 attackers and be able to pick them both off, but unawareness at the server window, resulting in his death. So now up 3-0. This is looking a little bit like a repeat of what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, the attackers just rolling away with it, and this time it is Team Reckless that are starting to basically pull this in their favor. Seeing another Church Arsenal defense from the side of Shook Squad. Their last one didn't quite work out too well for them, even though, again, they burned down some time. They got the initial pick onto Ultra. You know, again, everything was going for them that round. They got the Hibana. That meant that the only hard breach left was Thermite. They took out both of the exothermic charges with an impact trick. Everything was looking good, but then they just lost the frag battle to someone who was pushing in through, I believe it was Blue Tunnel. So it's a tough situation if you're Shook Squad because in terms of strategy, you're kind of doing everything right. And so in terms of how they should be adapting to try
10
to
seconds
combat
remaining.
Team Reckless, I think part of it needs to be putting more emphasis
5 seconds
on
left
going for
before insertion.
flanks is the only thing I can really think of. You know, if they're not winning their gunfights and they're still
Attackers are
burning out all the
moving out to
utility, I
locate
think
a
that's
bomb
one
and
of the only
defuse it.
things they can do. Maybe they can start running Pulse a little bit more often too. We saw that in the first round, but they haven't really run it since. That would help them get some C4 kills, things where they don't even have to peek to try to challenge the angle. But right now, Team Reckless just are on point with their frags.
Well, Rip Razor. There goes Hitman shutting down the star player, and with an SMG 11, that's insane, man. Great crosshair place when they come through for the mute of Hitman, who's really been vocal here for his team. And without Hitman, I don't think Shook Squad would have been as close to Team Reckless as they were on Theme Park. For the time being, right now, it's going to be advantage in favor of Team Reckless and Toady. I mentioned before that he was having a bit of a slow start on Theme Park. He is anything but, as he's completely fired up at a 7-0 scoreline, really reminiscent of what Wimpy was doing against PogChamp.
Yeah, and we saw that EMP go down to clear out some of the defensive utility, some of the drone denial from Benji Mula, as well as a potential ADS. But Benji Mula almost gets caught throwing a C4, but just barely manages to raise his gun in time in order to take out Breezy. And at this point, the defenders are starting to squeeze out the attackers. Toady gets headshot by Melee off of a big flank, and now Benji is going to get taken down by Ultra, and so that brings it back a little bit. But now we're only left with the two hard breachers. Ooh, quick peek from Ultra, tries to get the frag, but Nile responds with a headshot of his own. That leaves us with a 1v4. Doxchi is the only one left. He can certainly frag if he wants to, but in a 1v4 as Thermite, it's going to be a tough game.
I honestly thought that Nile was about to get world starred for a second time there, but Ultra just does not peek far enough. That's tough for Ultra, because if he would have peeked just a little bit more, possibly ends up with that headshot and puts Nile on blast for a second time in this series. But this could be the first round for Shook Squad unless Doxchi has something to say about it. He'll go ahead and breach charge off the blue hatch and going to go in for a bit of a rush down here. Doesn't have much to lose, but he'll get blasted. And there goes Shook Squad, finally winning out their first round here on defense. Not a great start for Shook Squad, but a round nonetheless.
On Clubhouse, you definitely expect a 4-2 defensive half, because this is one of the more defensive-sided maps. You got Cache, CCTV Cache, and Church Arsenal that are very viable sites for defense to hold. And then Gym Bedroom is actually pretty decent, not quite as good as the first two, but we've definitely seen a lot of teams be successful with it. So having a 1-3 half so far on defense is absolutely not a good start. They really need to hope they can win these next two rounds and sort of give themselves any inch of breathing room that they can. Speaking of their defensive setups, they're going with a Wamai again, this time stacking it with a Jaeger for CCTV Cache. I think this is a good comp to run for this site because there's most of the ways the attackers can really impact this site is by using tossable utility, stuff like the concussion grenades from Zofia to deny bandit tricks, using frag grenades to flush out people in rafters, and also we saw in construction, that construction wall, the top can be shot out and you can easily take out the bandit charges with a frag grenade over there, so really good site to run this double throwable denies.
10 seconds to insertion.
Well, we're now at a 3-1 scoreline. Shook Squad finally able to give themselves a round. And it's really strange to see a 3-1 scoreline in favor of an attacker side. And just the gameplay and the teamwork that's really come out from Reckless. I've mentioned it before, but it's been impeccable in this matchup. They've used it to their full advantage to be able to take care of Shook Squad. For now, they're going to be placing a mute with Braction down below to cover Nile on this blue stairs, so that way he doesn't get pushed by Razor for a second time.
Drone jumps right into his sights, so they both know where each other are roughly. Doesn't look like Breezy's gonna peek for it though. He definitely had the opportunity there, but it would have been a 50-50 gunfight, and a lot of times in Siege, you don't really want to take those 50-50 gunfights. You want to put yourselves in a situation where you can flush out the defender and get a guaranteed kill, if anything else. And the more situations you find yourself in for that, the better. Another drone goes out, and they see that there are some ADSs back there as well, but the EMP is going to be able to take that out. We'll see what Nile can do here. He rotates around to the side, but he is completely pinned at this point. No, actually, the attacker backs off of the angle. Zofia, concussion grenade goes out. Nile is still trying to challenge it despite being concussed. He gets the kill. The headshot onto Toady, and now Breezy is left in this 1v1 here against Nile as he tries to get control here. But at this point, they should just give up the angle and try cut your losses. Try to go somewhere else. It doesn't seem like Nile's giving this up.
Well, for now, Braxton's in a bit of a scuffle here with Razor down below, and Razor going to toss that nade in the complete opposite direction of where Braxton went to. Now, that Razor is bucking on over. We got to get some intel here for Razor if you're on Reckless. He needs to get this intel as to where Braxton is. Maybe he's aware that Braxton is over on the double door side of things, but you do have Ultra awaiting for Nile to push out of the blue stairs and into the main hall. For now, Razor is going to go ahead and bail out, get out of dodge, and try to rotate around to try to help his team in the final 60 seconds of play. This is not looking good here for Shook Squad, as there goes another pick for Braxton. He'll be able to take care of Ultra. That's your Hibana dead, and your only hard breacher is going to be with Doxy.
Razor getting out through Dirt Tunnel is a very smart move because he figured that there was his rotation coming out was held by pretty much every angle. So that was the only choice he had at that point. And Razor, he's going to make good use of his life as he takes out Austin.
The first member of Shook Squad will fall here, but there's 30 seconds that remain. Nile still awaiting for anyone to push onto those blue stairs as Breezy will start to hop on in. Does have to worry about Nile down below, but this is going to be a very difficult push to come out here. And now Razor going to be awaiting for a flank to come around, but Benji is there to find one. 2v4 here is Doxy's getting shot up to complete all hell. This is not looking good here for Razor. Down below in oil pill, he'll be able to find one. Can he find a second onto the man inside a rafters? It's going to be Benji, but time is going to burn out. And this round's going to go in the favor of Shook Squad at a 3-2 split. Shook Squad having some momentum on their side now.
Yeah, Shook Squad, they're finally starting to come back on their defense, and it's definitely not too little too late at this point. Ending with a 3-3 is a respectable score for sure. We'll see if they can get that last round in order to do that. It's not ideal, but definitely way better than ending at 5-1 or even 4-2. So we'll see what the defense decides to do to switch it up. Gym Bedroom, of course, yeah, they won Church Arsenal last time. This time they won Cache CCTV, so they have to go to Gym Bedroom because no one wants to defend Bar.
Yeah, Bar is pretty much no man's land. No one really goes to Bar, and if you see Bar, it's a pretty nice treat to see because, you know, it rarely ever gets played out. But Gym Bedroom going to be our next bomb site, our last bomb site here for Shook Squad before they transition on over to the attack.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
And we'll see how they end up setting up their utility. So defensively, they have a Clash. We've seen Clash actually quite a bit during these last two maps. And so far it's been hit or miss in terms of how well it's worked. Sometimes they manage to get extra frags for their team with it, but sometimes it just ends up flopping. We'll see what happens this time around. I think Clash is a pretty good pick here, because even if the Jacuzzi wall does get opened up, then you have someone who can constantly give you information on what's happening on that sort of map. Because it's so hard to peek against a team that has already gotten Jacuzzi wall open. You basically kind of have to hold angles at that point and prevent them from entering either of the actual sites.
One thing I would like to see happen here for Shook Squad, obviously none of their members can bring a deployable shield, but maybe bring, like, say, I don't know, smoke instead of... I don't know who you would really trade out here. But speaking of opening picks, Razor's going to find Nile, who's been a pretty big detriment to Reckless last round. Well played from Razor. Down goes your Jaeger. Advantage given to Shook Squad. Razor taking a little bit of time to reply back, but... You know, Reckless, I've mentioned it before, their teamwork has been what's kept them alive here in this matchup. And this time around, it does not look like Braxton is going to be assisting Hitman over at the Jacuzzi wall.
Yeah, it seems like he's focusing more of his attention over on the bedroom windows, which is sort of interesting because I don't think there's anyone on the other side of him toward construction, actually. It might have been Benji Mula is holding down... yeah, Benji Mula sort of has him covered, but Braxton is still, like, if someone pushes through construction, then it's basically a free kill onto Braxton at that point, so they do need to be careful of that, and Team Reckless, if they can drone it out, that could potentially be a huge boon for them.
They're attempting to at least open up the, well, they already did open up the jacuzzi wall, so Hitman's gonna have to run away. So with a little over half the round remaining now, EMP is gonna get tossed out now by Breezy, who hasn't really been all that vocal, but with the clash rotating around inside of bedroom, gonna contest over construction, Ultra's gonna have a little bit of a tough time to progress and make his way to the bomb site. But that's really strange. The player sitting on those main stairs, which is gonna be the bandit of Hitman, he'll get undroned because the drone was too busy on the railing.
Yeah, so they didn't end up seeing that. We'll see how much of a difference it makes and if he manages to get a pick off of that. But so far, it doesn't seem like anyone from Reckless are focusing on construction either. And Razor actually ends up going down. Not out quite yet, but there's a clash looking at him and zaps him to death. Benjamin is also down here as well. And
Ultra has a great opportunity.
Here's a good timing. He gets both of
play.
them. Ultra able to take 2 kills on the board, and Breezy gets a headshot on the other side. Ultra pulls out the Bearing 9 and finishes the round for Team Reckless. 4-2 scoreline on attack.
Oh my god, Ultra is too good, man. You gotta ban this guy. So
Just
good.
ban the player.
His timing today has just been so impeccable, so good, and it's been a big reason as to why Reckless have been winning a lot of these rounds in this series. That was such a smart play to come through from Ultra. Seeing that Razor died, realizing that the communication came through from Razor, seeing that one was down, realizing that the revive was coming through. Braxton thought he had enough time, but with his shield on his back and not the gun not in his hands as he picked up his teammate, easy 2K to come through there for Ultra.
Yeah, very big play from Ultra, very heads-up play, and again, like you mentioned, the Razor pointing it out the entire time, saying someone's downed, Clash just killed me, they're probably about to revive. Just great teamwork and great play overall by Team Reckless, and heading into defense with 4 rounds on the board is absolutely where you want to be on the side of Team Reckless, so they might look to close this out pretty quickly. And yeah, that's incredible. Like you said, you gotta ban,
Gotta ban Ultra.
yeah, gotta ban
You just
Ultra.
need to ban Ultra altogether.
What if teams had 6 players, and at the start of every game you just ban a player?
You just ban Ultra 24/7. Man, he's been so dominant in the series. His CGG as well, alongside Wimpy and Razor, are gonna look really nice. But 4-2 on an attack for Clubhouse, and Ultra getting pretty ballsy here. I think he was possibly going to go for a spawn peek with that MP7. The time being, looks like he's going to rotate away and possibly play around strip and bathroom.
I like that setup he has, though. A lot of people underrate non-castle barricades to barricade doors, but no matter what you do, unless, I guess there's a Maverick who uses his blowtorch on a completely destructible barricade, then you're going to hear if someone's breaking it, and you immediately know if there's someone pushing from that angle. So I do like that extra setup he's doing, where he places a lot of extra barricades around Strip Club. And yeah, that's pretty heads-up play by him. And we'll see what he can do with this bandit play. He's not going to be able to trick anything, but on this map, it's tough to focus on a trick, because the only place you can really trick is here in Church. And at that point, the attackers already have a lot of map control, so it can be pretty hard to keep it locked down.
Yeah, they're going to be used to create some footholds, but ADSs have been burned out over by Blue. And now you got Hitman rotating away from Strip over into Bar. Hibana from Braxton can use his second exothermic charge. Down goes Razor, though. He hasn't been too vocal in this matchup. It's mostly just been Ultra and Toady, a little bit of Razor, but that's a pretty big pick to come through, because that's one of the 3 hot hands coming out here from Team Reckless that you've shut down for the remainder of the round.
The question is whether or not they can shut down Ultra and Toady, who sit at the top of the scoreboards respectively. And Breezy actually gets a headshot onto Hitman. Sounds like, yeah, the impact trick was successful. Kitchen hatch will stay reinforced. And at this point, let's check how much... Yeah, that's all of the X-Kairos pellets, so unable to open up that wall whatsoever. And we're going to see potentially a bandit trick. Ultra going for it. He's running out. Oh, not going to be able to get it, just barely. And unfortunately stuffs himself in a corner, and Braxton gets the kill onto his legs.
Melee still sitting inside of Moto as Austin's going to drop down alongside with him. They can progress onto this bomb site with Breezy being the only member inside the bomb site. Coming around with the shotgun is Breezy, almost able to find Nile, but Benji is there to take care of Toady. Breezy and Braxton has been down here. He'll take care and finish off the Hibana. Swinging around through Moto is Nile aware of this, playing ring around the Rosie. Breezy with the quad kill. Can he get the ace? Doxy the only member alive, but there's Doxy with the fifth and final pick here. Team Reckless will continue to count their rounds 5-2 here for Team Reckless.
Just that of smoke. We've seen so many big plays with the 590. It's such an amazing shotgun. It's got quite a long range as well. And that's one of the key things we see from smoke players like Breezy, is the ability to use both of their weapons effectively. He got that first headshot with the SMG-11, switches off to the shotgun for some aggressive plays, and one of the biggest reasons that succeeds is because no one expects you to play that aggressively. But he just immediately peeks around the corner, gets one, peeks around a different corner, gets a second one, and really big plays from him. Gotta shout it out. And over on the side of Shook Squad, they didn't really utilize their utility very well in all reality. They ended up getting the church wall open, but other than that, most of the really important hard breaches were still intact. They didn't have any way to get into kitchen, or to get into arsenal, because the kitchen hatch stayed reinforced. They couldn't get through there. They did get the moto hatch, which helped them secure the hard breach into church, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough when you're facing a player like Breezy.
Yeah, Breezy went from 0 to hero that round, picking himself up 4 magnificent picks on the smoke, 3 with the shotgun, 1 with the SMG-11. And the way that he was able to work around Nile inside a church and Moto, absolutely astonishing to see that display. So, already Ultra getting caught off guard. The Hibana coming in clutch here. It would at least make an opening for Ultra to no longer bandit trick that. It's great call to come through from the IGL, and Braxton really stepping it up there, or at least for his team here this round, to limit the angles and opportunities here for the rest of the round. And it's only been 30 seconds.
Yeah, and Reckless are mobilizing in a very strange way. They're kind of completely giving up and rotating a few members through construction. So they're really backing off of the site, and it definitely makes sense for them to back off of CCTV, but I think they could hold cash for a little bit longer than they're doing. We'll see how that comes to fruition here, as actually Razor has a pretty good angle here. Gets spotted by a drone, but he ends up shooting the drone. Goes to re-peek the angle. He could just buy time here, but it doesn't seem like anyone's going to challenge him for the time being. It is pretty dangerous to drop down a hatch, even if you know where the defender is. Actually, Hitman's going to do it. Yeah,
yeah, Hitman getting the opening pick here onto Razor, and Ultra not being able to utilize any of his bandit batteries on the server wall. The best he can do is to at least prevent anyone coming in through the garage. But Breezy going out for a wide peek over on the server balcony. He'll get caught off guard by Benji. So now it's an effective 3v5. Is now the C4 possibly going to be tossed out here from the bandit of Ultra. There is 2 members inside of construction. ADS has been burnt out. You do have the Buck sitting over inside of logistics. But this is a really tough spot to be in right now if you're Team Reckless. Being down 2 members, a minute 15 left to go on the clock. This is really tough to work around.
I think the key for Team Reckless right now is Doxg's positioning over there.
Ultra!
Oh man, Ultra with a beautiful headshot, flick shot over onto Nile, and that is a huge kill. Austin going to get a frag grenade kill himself, but Ultra, ooh, he's feeling it now. 2 kills on the board. He's going to have to clutch it out, however. We'll see if he can get the ace. A 3rd kill on his side, sitting in CCTV, waiting to see if he can hear any plant going down. Someone's going to rush into cash room. Ooh, getting taken down to about half health, but Hitman is on 1 bullet of HP himself. Austin is going to push in. Ping's going down. Oh, just barely going to get taken down by Austin, and that is Shook Squad taking a round into their favor.
Very close engagement there between Austin and Ultra, and that was the skeleton key to blaster. I thought he might have been using his normal magazine, but finally, Shook Squad are able to put themselves back on the board and stop the bleeding that they've been suffering. This beatdown coming out from Team Reckless. And Ultra has really been a massive hero for his team. Him and Breezy really came alive as well on that church defense. I think he was trying to go for a cheeky play, trying to get the frag onto Benji, thinking that he was still on the rappel. But unfortunately for Breezy, it was Benji that was already off the rappel, sitting in the middle of the balcony, and just easy frag to
Attackers
come
need to
through for
locate
Benji
and
there.
defuse as many
So
bombs as they can.
Definitely have to commend Shook Squad for the really smart play for them to immediately toss a Hibana charge onto the cache wall, or on the CCTV wall, because it absolutely caught Team Reckless off guard. There was no chance of him running over to bandit trick that off the bat. This time, however, they're probably going to be smart to it, and Ultra might pre-place a one of his drones or one of his batteries there. And we'll see if that's in the cards, because it was a really smart play, and if it happens again, then, you know, old adage about fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
moving into round number 9 here, we'll be going back upstairs into CCTV and cache. Curious if there's going to be a pre-placed C4 this time around coming out from Team Reckless. But this time around, again, in the first 15 seconds, the wall will be open. And there is the bandit in play. Ultra having all 4 batteries. This is not a good look. And it's possible that they're just wanting to let Shook Squad open up to look into the bomb site. And they're not really wanting to really care. They're just wanting to burn attacker utility. I'm not so sure what the plan is here for Shook Squad, but I'm sorry, I'm not so sure what the plan is here for Team Reckless, and especially with the Zofia able to impact through, almost finding a pick there onto Ultra, but Ultra very lucky that Benji misses the shots.
Yeah, and it is a very interesting play by Ultra to still have all 4 bandit batteries on him, because he went over toward bar to play a roam sort of game. But if you're doing that, you want to just place and forget your bandit batteries. In this case, he saved them like he was going to trick, and then wasn't near the wall at all to trick. So definitely in a questionable play from him there. He's going to have them for pretty much the rest of the round, because I don't think there's anywhere he's going to be able to electrify at this point. So we'll see if his roam game can make up for it. Meanwhile, Shook Squad, of course, have a decent amount of map control with the CCTV wall opened up. And already, we see Reckless has been corralled to the staircase here. They don't really have a lot of presence on site, and we're actually seeing a push through garage.
Benji just continuously trying to apply pressure into Red Hall over on top of those cache stairs. And now Shook Squad is rotated away from logistics over into master bedroom. You do have the Hibana outside covering from the construction window, from the server window. And you have the Maestro hopping back and forth between the window, but he's actually gonna hop away down below to rotate. Toxic Babes are finally starting to be used here. A little bit early to come through for Breezy, but I believe the wall has been opened in construction. Yes, it has. So that Toxic Babe needed to be utilized. Flashbang's going to come over onto the red staircase, but it's not going to find anyone. As Benji's there to find the opening pick here onto Breezy. Down goes your smoke, but a great C4 to come through for Toady as Austin finds a refrag onto Razor. 3v4 here. It's Ultra swinging around. He'll find one onto Benji. Good night, my friend. Almost finding a second, but Braxton is there to save the day. Refrag City here. And the Maestro from Doxy with the 3-piece taking care of S2 and putting Reckless on match points here.
That is the power of a Maestro playing in garage there on the rafters, and unfortunately this round, nobody flushed him out. The last couple rounds on their defense we've seen where they go to CCTV cache, Reckless have been pushed through garage. Right before Ultra got his 3-piece that almost tried to clutch the round, I mentioned that the key to that round would have been the Maestro playing in rafters, but someone from Shook Squad rotated around and managed to take him out before he could pull off any big plays like that. This time is definitely not the case, however, as the attackers were running out of time, and Shook Squad had to make something happen. They didn't have enough time to rotate someone out through garage, and so they just kind of lined up for that Maestro play.
Very well played coming out there from Team Reckless, able to trade out every single member that died, and both sides were playing the trade game very well. I mean, all of a sudden, Doxy is just awaiting their prone at the rotate hole on the garage rafters. He made a great rotate to drop down below and rotate around, but I think he might have rotated from lounge back into garage to make that play happen. So I'm not so sure what the call was there for it, but Ultra got the perfect pick onto Benji on the server rack to allow for Doxy to pretty much breathe breathe calmly and breathe just fine, peeking over into Cash, and everyone just
10
lined up
seconds.
into Dakshi's crosshairs with the 81 bullets. Just let it rip. Easy round to come through for Dakshi there, and Ultra 12-7 here for the man
Attackers
in his
are moving
debut
out to
of
locate a bomb
CL.
and defuse it.
Yeah,
In
very
just the
big
second
plays by
match
him.
alone, too.
That's true. Yeah, the first round he was, or the first map, he was definitely one of the star players of that team. And now as we're on match point, Shook Squad really need to pull something out of the bag here because they're attacking down into Church Arsenal, which is a map, or which is a site that Team Reckless won on their first defense here on the second half. So at this point, a lot of it comes down to how well they can utilize both Braxton and Nile, make sure that they get their utility down, and here we actually see a reinforce onto Jacuzzi wall, so they're definitely playing the roam game heavily here with the Mute Mozzie Lion, or Mute Mozzie Vigil combo. I don't know where Lion came from.
Probably because Vigil does counteract the Lion Scan, but for the time being right now, Ultra has a combined total of 24 picks. 24 picks, 12 on Theme Park, 12 so far in this matchup. Benji's going to find one onto Dakshi. Down goes your Mute player, and Razor has been lit up to all hell, rotating over on those blue stairs. And Nile, very low HP for himself as well. He's only used one of his exothermic charges, but he's been able to open up that Jacuzzi wall, which is just fine here for Shook Squad. But this is not where Shook Squad really want to be. They want to get this tie. They don't want to go down 2-0. They want to try to at least secure 1 point in their first match here as a team.
Yeah, even though the site is Church Arsenal, it is still important for Nile to use that first exothermic charge on the Jacuzzi wall because this defense is so strong. Oh, here we go. He's going to vault over. Unfortunately, not going to get the kill onto Benji Mula, who headshots Toady, and now he has control over the blue tunnel. I know Ultra is pinned down here. He does have a rotate out, but he does still need to watch his back if he were to go for it. And yeah, as I was mentioning before, it's important for that Jacuzzi wall to go down because this defensive strategy is so contingent on holding the second floor and buying time that if you can get that wall open, you suddenly have a lot more angles to flush out the defenders on. And as we can see, they got one pick off of it. They flushed all of the rest of the defenders back to site, and they got a second pick off when Doxg was trying to rotate.
Yeah, Toady was trying to rotate on the Mozzie.
Toady, yeah.
Coming in for a flank. This could be huge here for the Legion. Breezy's able to find one. His Ultra will fall to a nade here. And now Razor being so cautious here, able to see one, but goes for a bit of a shot. He's not able to connect anything. The castle barricade will have to get ripped down by Breezy to rotate into bar. He does have the motor hatch open. He can go for a play here. He'll drop down and find one. Breezy with two, a triple kill for the man. Rotating into motor. He'll have to rotate back into sight before he gets picked off by Nile. Now he's trying to go for the plant. All of a sudden, it's all on Razor. Trying so desperately to win out the round here for his team, going for a pre-fire on those main stairs. The plant has come down successfully here. Razor needs to step it up here. Both members of S2, for Nile and Austin, are on very low HP, going for pre-fires as best as he possibly can. He'll start to rotate and creep over into the main hall. Rotating back into long hall as he tries to rotate into church. He needs to find these next two members in the next 10 seconds, otherwise he's not going to have enough time to plant. He's able to go for a shot, but he can't land it through the small beams inside of the wooden boxes. Razor falls and Shook Squad stay alive for at least one more round.
Such a strong angle there from Nile. It was so hard for him to challenge into that. At that point, it was definitely a lot to put on his shoulders, and can't really expect someone to clutch out around like that, especially in a post-plant scenario, but they do still have 2 more rounds of wiggle room, and for all those rounds, they can go to Church Arsenal, which seems to be their most comfortable site. They've gone to it twice already, and here is their 3rd chance at defending it. And we'll see if they decide to make any big changes, one of which is going to be their operator lineup. No Mute Mozzie Vigil. They're going to focus a lot more on playing a little bit closer to site, not completely though, as we still have Jaeger, Bandit, and potentially Valkyrie for some roams. We do have a Maestro, which is going to be pretty strong too.
To locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Minimum of one more round will at least be played here, and Shook Squad could potentially make this comeback happen. Just need to buckle down and not get caught off guard. That round, last time we just saw, could have gone any other way. Breezy with 9 picks, being able to stat pad himself a little bit there at the end, but crucial picks nonetheless to try to get his team in position to win it out. And I think that if Breezy just had his gun up just a little bit in time, possibly could have been able to take care of Austin as he rotated in from the church wall. But it's been a hell of a performance here from both teams, and even more so, obviously, from Reckless. I don't think a lot of people saw Reckless coming in this strong, but there's a lot of doubters on Shook Squad. So overall, I think both of these teams have played very well.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that there. As we turn toward our defense this time around, the setup is looking like what used to be the standard for this site. Back before the Mute Mozzie Vigil strat ended up going forward, actually we have, okay, those are still reinforced just from the other side. It's hard to tell from this angle, but it is reinforced, so that's good.
Attackers have located
First
a bomb.
30 seconds of play coming through as Braxton and Austin are starting to rotate into kitchen. Curious if there's going to be some impact tricking happening, and it looks to be that there is. So those Hibana pellets will be rendered useless, and now Austin will have to wait for another impact trick to happen. And again, this is going to be really tough here, and that's going to be a team flash to his own team. Wasted utility, 2 X-Kairos, and the flashbang gone. As Braxton will will have to use his last exothermic charge on that kitchen hatch. And your only breach charges now are going to come through into the hands of Melee, which is Thermite. And he's only got 1 left because he opened up Dirt, so you have to make a choice of whether you want to open up Moto or whether you want to open up Blue. And my honest guess here for right now for Shook Squad is going to be to open up Moto Hatch, as there's 2 members of Benji Mullen and I believe Hitman trying to pressure in from Dirt. And nade's going to come around and I believe it got rid of the deployable shield now. No, it didn't instead, so that's very good news here for for Reckless.
Good drone deny from the Maestro cam as well, making sure they snuff out all of the information that Shook Squad could potentially get on their positions. And it seems like Melee is still saving his exothermic charge. He's potentially going to try to use that on the church wall, is another possible option for him, but it seems like they're pretty much all in on this kitchen play for now. He rotates away. Yeah, I think that one's probably going to go over toward the church wall, or like you said, Moto, because Moto's important to make sure that you can pressure church properly. But it seems like they're actually just going to drop. Nilay's going for the plant. Braxton pushes in. He gets with the first kill, gets the second kill with a headshot. Doxy shuts him down, however. The plant is still going down. The diffuser is planted. Now Nilay trying to refrag for his friend. Benji gets downed in Dirt Tunnel, but do they have any vision of it? Razor actually going for the defuse. He's halfway through, knowing it. Doxy gets 2 kills. Hitman from above, able to take out Razor, and that leaves us with a 1v2. They really need to try to get this plant, or to get this defuse down. Looking through the bars. Are they going to be able to get the frag? No! Hitman gets both of them! Despite the fact that Ultra was watching it. Huge play by Hitman, saving the round and keeping his team in the running.
What a round that happened. Hitman, time and time and time again, he has stepped up for his team here. Great support player to have been picked up for this team, and throughout qualifiers he wasn't all that impressive. He was pretty average, like in terms of the fragging department, but today he's been absolutely solid for his team. I said it before, without Hitman, I don't think Shook Squad would be in this position right here, because it's mostly just been Hitman that's been able to help his team. Of course, Braxton did come alive this last round here, finding those 2 opening picks on with the Hibana rotating in from Blue. But still, Hitman able to find those last 3 picks with it being a 1v3. If that first frag didn't happen in the 1v3 through the floor, it's over. It's done and dusted. It's a 7-4 victory for Team Reckless. But again, another round will be salvaged here by Shook Squad. And we'll get pushed to the brink of regulation yet again. It's mostly been Benji and Hitman that I've really seen. Braxton's come alive as well, as I've mentioned. Nilay's put in some work as well, but Benji is the top fragger for his team right now. But a lot of the rounds that go in the favor of Shook Squad really don't end up in their favor as the end results. So we'll see how this round works. Hopefully for Ultra, he's able to put some batteries on the wall, because the last 2 times that they've come here, I don't think it's really worked out for them with this bandit, and still has all 4 batteries in his pocket.
Yeah, this is something that we saw the other round as well, but he's actually managed to rotate back over here fast enough to potentially prevent any immediate Hibana X-Kairos pellets on that wall, and it seems like they're not going to be able to go for that play again. So already off to a better start than the rest of their CCTV cache defenses. And so at this point, we are looking at the final round of this first play day today. We've seen some huge clutches across both of the team, both of the matchups that we've seen today, and we'll see what this final round has to bring for us.
EMP is going to come out and get rid of the bandit battery and a concussion mine as well. That results in the death of Ultra. Benji Mule will fall down. He takes out the big performer coming out here from Team Reckless, and we could potentially be in a tie because of that frag.
Attackers have
So now with
located a
2 minutes
bomb.
remaining in play, Nile has been tagged just a tad bit. Not so sure due to what, but right now the rest of Reckless need to really step up here as they've done so in the past. Razor needs to step up here for his team. He hasn't been as vocal this map as he was on the previous map on Theme Park. See what can happen here for Shook Squad on their attack.
Usually we see a deployable shield go down in that hallway toward the stairs that we're seeing on our screen right now, and that's the thing that usually prevents a lot of teams from using Zophia's concussion mines concussion grenades to prevent any bandit tricks. But this time, Breezy actually put his deployable shield over inside of Cash, so unfortunately not going to be able to prevent that. So the wall gets opened, and on top of that, Ultra gets picked. And that is, again, the top fragger for that team. And we see this wall over here in construction get opened up too, so the defenders don't really have too many places left that they can stand. In order to break out of this chokehold, they're going to need to get some key frags here. Ooh, looks like Toadie's going to try for it, not quite getting anything yet, but they're rotating back downstairs, pretty much giving up the control over
This could be a
site to go
big
for
play
a
to come here
refrag.
for Razor. Sees the Claymore, but is he able to get rid of it? I'm not so sure. Benji gets off the rappel, so that means Razor is coming down way. But Nilay's already got the diffuser down. This could be Shook Squad's round as Austin finds the pick onto Toadie. Breezy coming through as Nilay is there for the final pick. 2 more members, and there goes Benji. Razor in a 1v5. Can he clutch it up for his team? But no! Ending on a flawless round. Shook Squad comes alive in the last 3 rounds with their backs against the wall. They will at least come away with 1 point here in the beginning of Challenger League Season 11. And 3 rounds in a row, they had a chance to do so, but Reckless not able to make it happen. 12 picks for Ultra, resulting in a tie. Unfortunate circumstances there for Reckless. They had 3 chances to win it out, but the clutch is coming through for Hitman and Benji really stepping up there for their team, coming through so heavily, resulting in them, at least they got away with 1 point.
Yeah. And absolutely the huge clutch potential coming up from Shook Squad to clean up those last few rounds. Again, I think Reckless, they had a couple of small things that they could have made better to prevent these situations from happening. I think if Ultra was alive during that last round, the entire round basically changes because they don't get that CCTV wall open. And again, I think that comes down to having your deployable shield, uh, basically shielding your bandit from being concussion grenaded from that little drone hole over there by Zofia. So I think that's obviously a very small thing to